when the trade, the first of the 12, because now we're at 12 with the Braves. When the first of the 12 happened, I don't know which one was it. The Hayward one happened first. Was that the first one?
Yeah, Hayward was the first.
That was the first.
Yeah.
The first pin to drop was the Hayward trade, and it was like, what? I can't believe Jay Hay. Until you realize that Jay Hay was gonna want a hayload of a bunch of money,
right?
And it was gonna be no way to do that. And
I was never mad about that.
I'm not just talking about you. I'm just talking about the general response. So right. A good fan should be what? An educated one.
Got that. Yeah, that was one to understand. But it was like I say, like last night, like dude, I just happened to look at my phone and got the little ESPN little thing to come across my screen, and it was like Craig Kimbrell and Melvin Upton traded. I'm like, what? So it was like, so it wasn't even like I was sitting in front of the computer or in front of the TV where I could actually see the breakdown and hear the breakdown and anything like that. It was just like, don't we start tomorrow?
The only thing you need to know is he is a closer on a bad team. Like, there are no more details to know except for that. And this is coming from a novice baseball fan. Like, he's a closer on a bad team. What is his value at the end of the day besides being the best closer in the game? It's like having a Lamborghini and you can't drive it. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. Yeah, you got it, but you can't even put the key in and drive it. Or however you start those cars. I'm not rich enough to know that. So, whatever. If you push the button or if you just talk to it or fingerprints or whatever you do. But you get my point. Same deal. So, you don't have to be in front of the computer and know all the breakdowns of the money and the stats and the sabermetrics. Those things help after the fact. But beforehand, you look at it as what it is. He is a closer on a team that's going to be virtually bad. That's going to be pretty bad.
But the thing about it is you don't know that.
Don't know what?
You don't know.
You don't know what?
Like you can't just say that I know they got to be careful.
All right, let's start. Let's start the show over then. We got to start the show over.
Because that's what I was saying on Friday's show. Like, well, how awesome would it be if they peaked early before this whole 2017 thing? Like, because it's possible.
Really? That's what you hang your hat on?
Yeah.
That's what you hang your hat on.
I'm just saying, I'm saying it's possible.
The funny thing is, the funny thing is,
I'm just saying that it's possible.
Because what's happened now is we've brought Fan Rob out. Like broadcaster Rob has taken this hour off, and Fan Rob is here.
No,
because you know how I know because when 2 years ago. When the Marlins did that, you wasn't saying, you know what, the Marlins could be pretty good. They are now because all that. When people were saying the Marlins are fielding a AAA team out there against professionals. You know what those AAA players are now? Good. 2 years later, they're good.
But no,
you feel what I'm saying?
No, but the thing about the Marlins is that this is what the Marlins have done. Like when the Marlins have won 2 or 3 championships.
No, I'm saying regardless of that. I'm talking about in recent times, like now, what was happening?
Yeah, but this is what they do.
But this was unprecedented. This wasn't like that. This wasn't like that. This was literally a bunch of unknown, a bunch of AAA type talent.
But this is what Miami has been making ways of doing, or making it their way of doing things for the past 10 to 12 years, or maybe longer. Is that they blow up those teams and start from scratch.
Yeah, but you're missing my point, though. You're missing my point. The point is the statement that you made about the Braves this year, that, you never know. Were you saying you never know about that Marlins team 2 years ago? Were you saying that about them 2 years ago? No, because now you're emotionally vested. Your fandom is coming out now. But in the case of the Marlins, you have no emotional connection. So you're not gonna have the same optimism, blind optimism that you have for another team as you do for the team that you cheer for. That's my point. Because it's the same thing.
And that's what I'm saying. Like but again, I understand the Marlins culture because usually they take all when they redo things, they redo things all the way. So it's like if they're terrible for a year, that's not unusual.
But Rob, you're misunderstanding the point. Regardless if it's their culture or not, the point is when you ask me the question, how do I know? The same way you knew the Marlins was going to be bad 2 years ago because you knew it, didn't you? You knew they were going to be bad.
I mean,
the same way I knew that then, and you knew that then. We both got to be smart enough to know it now. Because you know who else knows it? Freddie, John Hart, they all know it. Let me find the quote. We got 10 minutes? Yeah, go ahead, finish your point, and I'm gonna find this quote.
Well, I'm saying I'm good. I'm just saying that I understand the nature of the business, like, I definitely understand the nature of the business, but again, you know, it's just one of those things. So, like last night, like, and I know I wasn't the only one. Half the baseball community was like, damn.
Wait, what baseball community?
I mean, because
wait a minute.
Baseball
you mean the Braves fan community is what you mean?
No, man. I'm just saying the baseball. I mean, they like it was like, dude, I've seen quotes from people like since last night and today, like throughout the league. Like I've seen it. I've seen quotes, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's not like people saw this coming. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I mean, nobody saw this coming.
When I was at 92.9, this has been talked about for the last 2 years about whether the Braves would trade this kid Craig Kimbrell while he had value, because the volatility of the position that he plays. First of all, he's not an everyday player. Second of all, this is a dude who gets paid to throw the ball as hard as he can. So eventually, guess what's going to happen? See, and here's why I have to go back to the Mariano Rivera thing. Mariano Rivera had a pitch. He had that sinker, right, that split finger sinker that he threw. That was his thing. He wasn't trying to blow you away with 100 miles an hour. So he could throw that. He could probably get on the mound today and throw that pitch and get people out today, because it's like Greg Maddux. He ain't throwing it hard. He's throwing it effectively and locating it, and you just can't touch it.
Location, yeah.
But this is a kid who's making his money off throwing the ball as hard as he possibly can. Eventually, we all know how that story ends. We've read that book plenty of times. We all have.
But that's why I said I'm willing to sit back and watch. I'm willing to sit back and watch the player unfold. So, you know, I'm willing.
Here's the answer to your question. When you ask me how do I know they're going to be bad, because the people who are in charge know it too. The quote from John Hart is, "We're not putting a win-loss stamp on this season. We're going into it with the idea that we'll be a winning club, but that's not the criteria. We'll be looking at the organization in totality." End quote. Quote, "We hope to stock our farm system with more impactful players. I know that doesn't jump off the page in terms of the wow factor, because, you know, in Atlanta, you got to have the wow factor for what we might see at Turner Field this year, but that's an important part of this." Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, so I know you don't want to hear it as a fan, because overall, that's my point. Like the little drop I play, like everybody want to see the baby, but don't nobody want to go through the birth. This is the birth. You know what I mean? And at some times you just have to. You can't have that blind fan optimism like, you never know, we might. No, you're not. This team's going to be bad. You know what I mean? It's going to be what it is. You know what I mean? But the plan is for it not to stay bad, that you let these young boys take their lumps in 2015. Then they may take a little less lumps in 2016. Then you move into your brand new stadium in 2017. Now you got a bunch of seasoned young dudes, led by Freddie Freeman, led by an experienced Andrelton Simmons. You got Julio Teheran locked up to 2020-something. You got a core now. But as a fan, you got to be able to look down the road, not just at the car in front of you. You got to be able to see down the road. And again, it'll be a different story if you had an organization full of people that you couldn't trust. But from what I've seen and what I've read from this guy John Hart, he ain't just in there throwing chicken bones on a plate and hoping for magic and voodoo. He's a dude that's done it before. Done it at a very high level. So when it comes down to, can I see the vision? That's basically all I'm ever saying when it comes down to a team that tells me, a team that I follow that says I'm rebuilding or we're going in a new direction. Tell me what the vision is. Make it plain for me. If I can understand it, we'll rock. And then when it don't work no more,
and that's what I said.
Like the thing last year.
And that's what I said. After I listened to this, like I said, after I heard Brady talk about it today, then what I say, like, okay, I'll sit back and watch this new brand of Braves baseball and hope that it translates into, or equates into what they're hoping for. Like,
But if it doesn't, you got to be ready to scrap it again.
Yeah. But at that point,
if it doesn't, like, you start over.
You got to,
till you get it right.
Yeah.
And I think that inevitably that needs to be the message. That needs to be the attitude. And I'm always like, I'm hard. And Rob, you know me for years. I'm hard on the fan base here because I always feel like there's that level of just fan insecurity and fan stupidity that happens, and it happens in one ball. Like, and you can't be both. Don't be stupid and insecure. Like, choose one and let people attack that. But then when you're both and people just smash you, the national media, so to speak, smashes you on it, like, don't catch feelings because it's true. You know what I mean? It's real what it is.
Well, I mean, it's like the I don't want to say the culture, but the what is the word I'm looking for? The way things were done kind of changed when Frank Wren took over. I mean, everybody was kind of used to the job that John Sherholtz was doing, and I know that, you know, when Sherholtz was the GM, you know, that was the majority under Ted Turner. When Ted Turner had the team, the things were a lot different. You know what I'm saying? But when you start bringing in people that obviously had different different ways of doing things. Like, you know, when, you know, because Frank Wren actually obviously had his own vision, you know what I'm saying, of what he wanted the Braves team to be like. And, you know, when it fails and then you realize you got to start all over scratch with a new dude, then, I mean, you know, it's one of those things.
And just, and always think about this. Like, for if you want to be optimistic about anything, like, don't let it be one individual season, like you were saying, like how I know about this season. Forget that, scrap that. Be optimistic about the fact that because that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm optimistic about seeing this thing grow. Because earlier you heard me, I was like, I'm not watching no bad baseball, whatever. But then the plan gets explained to me, and I said, okay, now I have something to watch more than just watch a baseball game. I got players to watch and see how these players develop. I got something to watch, you know, week to week, month to month, year to year, and see where this thing goes. And then if it does end up culminating in something bigger, I can always say, man, I remember. Just like I'm saying now, I remember when those 100 loss seasons were happening, those 96 loss seasons were happening. I could say that coming through the 90s.
You know, but and in the back of Braves fans' minds, me included, that's what nobody wants to have to go back to, Michael.
Well, hey, like
that's
I say,
what nobody
but you want the baby. But you want the baby.
Because we remember.
But you want the baby. You know what I mean? You want the baby, but you don't want the labor pains?
Yeah, I mean, but it's just one of those things that, just like you said, we remember.
But the thing is,
countdown to 100.
You should want that. You should want to embrace that and want to cherish it. You know what I mean? Because everyone wants to talk about being a real fan and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes a real fan is the person who goes through those things, who goes through those tough times with the team, and then comes out at the other end like, look at us now. Like, look where we started, and look at us now. Instead of you showing up one day and it's like, yeah, the team's great. I'm in. Of course, everyone's in when they're great. Everyone's here to play.
I mean, that's just like, you know, when Dale Murphy got traded to the Phillies. You know, everybody was up in arms, but, you know, a complete season later, dude, we were in the World Series.
Things got to happen, man. Things got to happen, man.
It's unbelievable.
Like, you know what I mean? You got to trust the system, man. Trust the plan that's in place until they show you that you don't need to or that you can't anymore. At this point, nothing's been shown. Nothing's been shown whether you can or you can't. But to me, it makes it more, like, especially for doing what we do here, it's more intriguing now than just somebody saying, well, the Braves going to be a bad team. They're going to be a 72-win team or whatever. And it's like, oh, really? Damn. No. But when you say, look, they've changed up the whole philosophy. It's the team, and I actually sat here and I watched today. Watch these dudes hit the ball on the ground. There was a couple of, you know, fly-outs because every now and then somebody got to try to go damn deep, especially in this Miami ballpark where you can't get the ball out the ballpark unless you're a superhero of a human being because it's so big. But for the most part, man, two strike hits, got out of a double play in the seventh inning, bases loaded, no out double play. Like, a bunch of good things happened today. And again, it's one of 162. But again, these are things that I'm going to be looking at throughout this season, the next season.
The rain delay kind of slows Tayron down too. I think, you know.
We got to get out of this hour. I don't even want to talk about that foolishness. How do you not have Doppler radar? How is somebody not looking at the radar and know that's coming?
How do you not have a tarp? Why is your tarp out in center field?
You don't need to. If somebody's looking at the radar, look, the rain coming. Close the roof. It'll be here in 30 minutes.
All you got to rain the lady, man.
Oh,
Why
Jesus.
is your roof so slow?
It's a Sports Kings podcast, man. I'm Big Mike. He's Rob Calloway. Make sure you check us out on Spreaker.com. Tell a friend to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sports Kings Live. You can also email the show, sportskingslive@gmail.com. We'll be right back.